If you want to become a broker, appraiser, or consultant, then you need to be a graduate of this course. Hey guys, Alex here. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I am so excited to share with you amazing news. For those of you who follow me on IG and my social media accounts, you probably already know this. I passed the real estate consultancy board exam. And in today's vlog, I will share my journey about how I took and passed the real estate consultancy exam and also give you some tips to those who want to take it as well. I shared with you last December that I was reviewing for the board exam, and that's why if you notice, a lot of my content at the time was related to the board exam. So it was about like train law, RESA, ethics, not my usual content, although it's still real estate related. But that was because I was cramming for the board exam. I had like a month to study and I still had to vlog. So, the show must go on. So I made my study content into vlog content para I could hit two birds with one stone. So quick backstory, I started reviewing for the exam. I think that was around August of last year, if I remember correctly. A client of mine actually mentioned, she's also a friend of mine, she mentioned that she had just enrolled to IPRE, which is a review center for the REC exam, and that this was the last exam for those who are not BSREM graduates. So BSREM stands for Bachelor of Science in Real Estate Management. If you want to become a broker, appraiser, or consultant, then you need to be a graduate of this course. It is a 4-year course which is already being offered by some universities in the Philippines, and it's a new course. That's why not all universities offer it yet. So for those who are not BSREM graduates who want to become a consultant, last year was your last chance to take the exam, because after that, you will need to be a BSREM graduate. So of course, I hastily enrolled in the review because I didn't want to go back to school for like 2 years. So in order to take the exam, you have to comply with the following requirements. 120 credit units of the REC seminar and review, or bachelor's degree in real estate service, proof of 10 years experience as a real estate broker or 5 years experience as an appraiser, birth certificate, marriage contract, if married, valid NBI clearance, and project feasibility study, both hard and soft copy. So the review had already started when I enrolled. And since it was in the middle of the pandemic, everything was done online via Zoom. So to be honest, I couldn't really concentrate on the review because aside from it being online, we had to make an FS, a feasibility study, and submit it before November 30. So the bulk of my time was actually spent preparing for the FS. Praise God that I had developer mentors who I could consult with. Otherwise, I would be totally lost. Like, really, the FS is like a very time-consuming thing to make, and if you have no idea on how to develop a project, then you really need mentors to help you with it. My FS is an 8-story mid-rise condo project located in Kauswagan with a total investment project cost of around 2 billion. So there are 5 aspects to a REC feasibility study. First is concept. You need to think of a unique concept that will sell, something that's not yet in the market and will have something new to offer to buyers. And then we have market study. The market study is an integral part of the FS because this is where you do a deep dive into the existing market to check if there is actually a market for your product. Who is your target market? Will your target market invest in this project? Will they like this project? So this is the most time-consuming part of an FS since you need to ask actual buyers, which I did. I actually contacted my clients, actual people, to ask them about this. I actually did the market study because I wanted to know if my project was feasible. And then third is the financials. You will then need to create an income statement and cash flow statement to confirm if your project is financially feasible. Of course, I didn't know how to do this, so I'm not a math person. So I hired my high school classmate, who is now an accomplished accountant, Peter Chu, to do the financials. So I gave him some numbers to start with, and he did his accounting magic on it. Even when we were in high school, Peter was already so good in math. So thank you for helping me with my FS, Peter. And then fourth is technical aspect. You will also need to hire an architect or draftsman to create a render of your project because you need to actually show something to the board. And then the economic and social aspect. So that's the fifth component. We didn't really have a lot of time to do the FS. So mabilisan lang talaga lahat. By the time I was able to finish it, it was like a month before the exam now, which was on scheduled on December 4. So we had to cram already. It was a good thing I had a study buddy, my BFF, Steph Uy. We've known each other for 3 decades now, and we're probably permanent fixtures in each other's lives. Like, we've been classmates from preschool, college. She's also my partner in our realty. We've been through 3 board exams together, nursing, brokerage, and consultancy. And another study buddy, attorney Albert Daba. So he would like meet up at the coffee shop after and like just study together. Yeah. So it really helps to have someone that you can bounce off ideas with, because it's really a lot of things to read. And for me, I remember it more when I talk about it compared to if I just read about it. So anyway, since I wasn't able to really concentrate on the Zoom review, I just made bawi by studying the review material that I pre-provided for us. So I read it, I took notes, and researched online for some of the things that I couldn't find about in the review material. And the challenge for me was with the rec review was that even though it's related to real estate, its concepts are so different from brokerage. So I felt like I was diving into a whole new world. Related, but very, very different. And you know, real estate is such a huge industry. There's so many aspects to it. So my first tip for those who will be taking this exam is tip number 1, study the review material and answer all the test questionnaires again and again. Aside from reading it, do additional research. You'll find supporting materials online. If you have the time, study the material from other review centers or schools if you have access to those, so you can cross-reference. And then tip number 2, find mentors for the FS. This is so, so important. I wouldn't be able to get my FS done without my mentors. Having mentors was such a huge help to me and staff because we actually had the same mentors. So we're lucky that we've been in this industry for so long. We already had developer friends who agreed to mentor us despite their busy schedules. So thank you so much. You know who you are. Of course, we did the bulk of the work ourselves. You have to, because it really helps though to have, but it really helps to have someone that you can refer with, since project development is something that we are so new to. Also, it helps if you can find an actual FS so you would have a guide in making yours. And tip number 3, have a good support system. This is really vital because now that we're married, we have kids, we have a career, things can get super hectic and super busy. I had to juggle my clients, coordinating with the TWR team, being a wife, a mom, a vlogger. Also, in addition to reviewing for the board exam. I'm just so grateful to my mom and husband who were so supportive of me during this time. They really took over some of my responsibilities for the time being to lighten my load so I could focus on the review. It's also an advantage if you have control over your time, if you had more time freedom, because if you were already employed like 9 to 5, it would be so much harder having to juggle a 9 to 5 and the FS and review. So yeah, it would be better if your time were more flexible. But you know what? Even if it's not, you can make it work if you really want to. A week before the exam, I really dropped everything to focus on studying. Like, I didn't do client calls, I didn't do side tours, I just really focused on studying because I was already cramming. And then tip number 4, decide to finish what you start. Or be careful in starting what you cannot finish. For me, I'm really careful in saying yes to new projects or endeavors because when I do something, I want to be able to finish what I start. So it's just something that's really important to me. So when I decided to enroll with iPre, my mindset was that I would really see it through no matter what it took. So there were around 60 reviewees, but only half were able to submit their FS and take the exam. Because of course, all the reviewees that joined were already working, had families, were already very busy. So it was really understandable why some couldn't continue because the bar was already up there. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means that you have other priorities. So you have to assess yourself early on, can I finish this? Am I willing to give my time and energy to this endeavor? And if the answer is yes, then go do it. Now for the Revalida tips, this was actually this was the part where a lot of us were nervous about because you would have to stand in front of the board and defend our FS. My advice when it comes to the Revalida is just to really study your FS and be confident in delivering it. We did our Revalida at the PRC office via Zoom because the board was in Manila. And we were only given 15 minutes to present our topic via PowerPoint. And at the end of the presentation, the board asked us a couple of questions each. So the questions were very practical. And if you're the one who did your FS, you would be able to answer these questions. So how did I prepare for the Revalida? Well, I did a practice run on my presentation. I put the relevant information in my PowerPoint already in the notes section, especially the numbers part, so I would have a guide. Thankfully, I could answer the questions that the board asked. They asked really practical questions that you would be able to answer as long as ikaw nga yung gumawa ng FS mo. And also in answering questions, be confident. It goes a long way. That's also the advice another consultant gave me when I asked for Revalida tips. She said, just be confident. Kaya mo yan. Sound sure of your answers and it will be fine. So the Q&A took about 30 minutes. The entire Revalida took about 40 minutes to an hour. So overall, my whole mindset going into this was I would just do my best. I would give my 100%, and then when this is all over, pass or fail, I would have no regrets. And that's basically my mindset with everything that I do. I just give it my best shot, leave the rest up to God. Thankfully, by God's grace, my best was good enough, and so was Stephanie's and Albert. So my study buddies and I, we all passed. And we're so happy. We're so happy that everything that we did, like all our efforts, were not in vain. We all have a different calling in life. We have work that we are supposed to do, our role to fill, and this is mine. Ever since I started in the real estate industry 11 years ago, doors have been opening up for me like they never did with my nursing career. And it's really through God's grace that I found this calling. And that's why I want to do my best and to be at my best in this industry. Because one way to glorify the Lord is by doing great work. And through this, I am able to shine the spotlight on Him who has made all this possible. And that's it for today's vlog. Hope to see you in my next video.